So you might be bleeding right now, or maybe you are in a relationship with someone who bleeds. This video is for you if you are ready to optimize your flow, your energetic flow in your moon cycles, your mood. Everything is so impacted during certain phases. I'm going to dive into these phases, and there's so much wisdom that we're reclaiming as goddesses now. So happy you're here to join me. All right, so the four menstrual moon phases. We're going to dive in. First, I want to introduce myself. I'm Dr. Amanda Noelle, the founder of Aphrodite University, and myself, as well as sometimes my husband and my team, will be posting videos on this channel about things to help you grow as a divine feminine entrepreneur, love leader, someone in relationship. We get a lot of followers who are looking for their twin flame or ultimate sacred partnership. So let's dive in with these four phases. I'm going to go over what each phase is in a bit, but I'm just going to list them out. So the first one is the follicular phase. Then we get the ovulation phase, which is more well known, the luteal phase. And these names are so funny. And then obviously we get the bleed phase. You know that one. If you are a woman that has bled, you will know it. All right, so let's dive into the first phase. What is the follicular phase? It sounds kind of hairy. It's weird. I don't like these names. I think they were named by a dude personally. So the follicular phase is where we prepare our egg. This phase starts around the beginning of your first day of your period. That's when you bleed. So the phases aren't like the quarter moons where it's like it starts and ends. It starts and ends. There is overlap. So just wanted you to know that. This phase lasts around 2 weeks, starting on the day of your bleed. And this time is where the hormones stimulate an egg to develop in one of your ovaries. The uterine lining thickens so that it can accept a fertilized egg. This is the time, mood-wise anyways, to contemplate and connect. The follicular phase is a great time to do some journaling, some deeper meditations. Maybe it's a good time to go on a self-love retreat. This is a place where you're going to have that mental clarity and energy and that kind of deep connection to ourselves. We really want to go within. The follicular phase in our workflow wouldn't be to completely go balls out with a launch. It's more of a time to prepare, to plan, and to problem solve, especially at the beginning part of the phase. It's best to focus on creative and analytical tasks. Women tend to have a better mental acuity during this part of their cycle, making it an ideal time to use their full range of problem-solving skills. Ovulation phase, this is obviously when you could be getting pregnant. It's when you release your egg. I love that that egg is a diamond. So the ovulation phase comes about halfway through our cycles, usually around day 12 to 16 after the start of our period. And when doctors will say like day 12, day 7, I didn't know what that meant at first. And when I was looking to get pregnant, there's this lingo that day 1 is the bleed day. So day 12, day 16 after the start of your period is when we ovulate. During this time, the egg is released from one of the ovaries. I just got to see one of mine on a live Vagicam. What are they called? Intervaginal something or other. And I saw my beautiful egg in my right ovary. And that is when it travels from the fallopian tube into the uterus. It's pretty cool to be able to see it if you get the chance. Take advantage. The ovulation phase is going to impact our moods as well. And this is the badass blissness woman phase. This would be a good time to maybe do that launch, to plan your big event, put on your little red dress. This is like that incredibly spiritual, sexy, and empowering time where you're just like the woman in red. You can do it all, right? You are here meaning blissness. You can schedule a lot of important things around this time. Ovulation phase in your workflow is prioritized or energized. You're like, boom, 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 check this off. You're in your flow, you want to go. So prioritize your work goals during this time. It's great to make a list because we can be so fast. We can want to do everything at once. And I struggle with this myself, especially with technology. We're all becoming a little bit ADHD, I think. So There are some tools and I'm looking forward to sharing them with you, but definitely at the beginning of your day, ask yourself questions like, what do I want to accomplish today? What is my top goal and priority? Otherwise, you might end up doing the things that aren't as important, and then you have the most important thing that could make you the most bang for your buck, give you the best influx of clients, whatever it is that you want. And so we want to put our priorities first. I know it sounds really simple, but I think it's kind of like the egg. It's like this one point. It's not hazy, bloody, it's like, here it is. So prioritize your goals by making that list of your short and long-term goals, and then take that time to prioritize them using things like Asana or Slack, some really good tools out there, or maybe you write them down in your old-fashioned journal. There's so many different ways to stay organized, but ensure that you're working towards the most important task first while still managing other obligations. And I like to do my new moon and full moon goal setting so that it's like, what is my baby this month? The whole phases of the new and full moon and the whole phases of our menstrual phases, it's endings and beginnings. So if we don't have any goals and we're just kind of like, I want to create a wellness center, if that's like a long-term goal of yours, or I want to give back to charity. It's like, let's get really concrete. What is the goal for this month? I do an annual goal setting meeting with my partner. We're actually starting pretty soon the astrological calendar year on the 21st or 20, right around then, depending what time zone you're on, this month in March, and that's the start of the zodiac. So it's a great time if you want to set your goals for the year. But every month during the new moon, you'll definitely want to set your goals and come and join us. We have a live new moon ritual that we do for badass boss babes, all around money activation, calling in clients, and getting super sharp, clear goals and direction. So breathing into our womb. Let's go to the next slide. So prioritized and energized. Let's look at the luteal phase. The luteal phase is that stage that occurs after ovulation. It lasts for another 2-ish weeks. During this time, the uterine lining further thickens to prepare for that implantation if the fertilized egg enters it, assuming you're not wanting to get pregnant. It's going to be shed. The hormone progesterone is released at this phase and helps maintain a healthy pregnancy if one is to occur. Now, the mood at the luteal phase is all about inner growth and renewal. So it's a great time to do self-care, to regenerate on the inside and to grow. Many women also view this period as a call to focus on their spiritual, emotional, mental well-being. And at this phase, it's so important to do things like self-care. I just spent an hour laying down with the castor oil pack. It's great whether or not you have a womb issue going on, a yoni steam. It's a great time to really tap into feminine energy. I'll be releasing a video about castor oil packs soon. They're super awesome. You just slap on this amazing ingredient that sucks out old energy from your womb. And it's just so important to practice self-care. We all know this, but schedule it, and definitely schedule it around the luteal phase. It's the phase I'm in right now myself. This is a great time to release what no longer serves us. So think a little bit more detoxification, rituals of letting go. It's sometimes people will be syncing their systems with the full moon. It might be a time where you have your period. You ovulate and you do a ritual right around this time of the full moon with the luteal phase. So think of it as putting it into the fire, letting go, opening up the pathways and awakening greater understanding to the true nature. And that's where we get all the good stuff, right? When we call in our ultimate soulmate, our twin flame, we're coming from our higher self, our true nature. There's no other way. When we're calling in abundance from our soul alignment, it's because we're tapped into Mother Nature, the nature of our spirits, the higher self. So create space for that. Schedule it on the calendar, or it probably won't happen, especially if you're a busy mom like me. In the luteal phase, your workflow is going to want to look a little bit more slow, steady, focused. It's not a time to have a miles-long checklist with a lot of different things, or if you have that, just be more patient with yourself. Know that it might take you a little bit more time to get things done. So breathing in between each each step. Make sure to take your breaks every 10 to 20 minutes. Stare out the window at a point all the way out in the clouds or as far as you can see, because we want to really nourish our eyes, related to the kidneys, related to all the female hormones. We want to nourish ourselves. So slow down, take breaks, and be more patient with yourself. And since a woman's mental focus during the luteal phase of her menstrual cycle, that time between ovulation and menstruation, is going to be a little bit lowered. She might experience a little bit of a brain fog, lack in concentration, irritability, or difficulty managing stress. Sometimes that's called PMS. And one of the things to not do is to try and combat it with caffeine. Don't be a Red Bull bitch, like just make sure that you're giving yourself the flower teas, the healthy herbal tonics, reishi, chaga, those things that really nourish you deeply instead of trying to push through it. Because so many women will get this lull and they'll beat themselves up and they'll do things like take the caffeine or have sugar snacks or try and do too many things and feel bad about themselves. Just give yourself time and trust that you'll get it done in the more productive earlier phases next month. Next moon. So the bleed phase, we know, is when the blood comes out of our bodies. It's a release and reset time. It marks the end of the menstrual cycle. It begins when the levels of hormones drop and the uterus sheds its lining as your menstrual flow, your period. Kind of straightforward. But what we might not know, and what they didn't tell you in 5th grade health class or whenever you learned about sex, bleeding in your body, if you hopefully had something like that, is that your mood during your bleed is going to come with some magic. You'll have increased psychic gifts and spiritual powers, and that's oftentimes why in ancient times someone would go out to the red tent or they would sit on the log and get super, super connected to nature and sit and be together. Our pheromones are very strong, and these also rub off on other people. So that's sometimes why the men can feel influenced by our powers, by our pheromones. It feels good to be together with women because you're like, woo, this magic feels great. Sometimes somebody who's wanting to be structured and linear can get a little annoyed, and that's where sometimes we can have clashes with our partner where we can butt heads, and it's the logical masculine and then the feminine magic going like, how do we find that dance? So could be a good time to take some space apart. It could also be a good time to really honor the magic of the womb. And during the bleed, once you do something for yourself and honor your feminine energy, inviting your partner in to do something, or just share your feelings about it. Wow, I'm feeling really sensitive today. Sometimes I'll often offer my husband a channeled reading or an energy healing because I've got this powerful magic. It's nothing to be feared. However, you just got to make sure it's something that your partner wants, or it's something that the masculine energy is open and aligned for. Create a sacred container and don't just walk up to that person at their computer in the middle of a business meeting and like share this like download that you got, because sometimes that's a lot for them to handle, trust me. So the bleed phase is often accompanied by physical, spiritual, and emotional changes. Like you might actually in 1 month up level and have a spiritual ascension experience. You might all of a sudden get super sharp and clear, like, oh my gosh, I've been following this guru or a friend of mine and I thought their advice on nutrition or healing themselves or the way they run their company is like so what I needed to be doing, but actually that was wrong, and you'll realign. So it's an ideal time to see the truth, to open your third eye. It could be a good time, depending on your tradition, to do something like a plant medicine ceremony or a journey, go out in nature, sit on the log. You can sit on a patch of moss. The usnea is the original menstrual pad. I just found out that through my acupuncturist that at our health center, women's health center that I gave birth at, it's a birth center and they continue seeing women. They're having an issue with those, those menstrual clumps. A woman's cervix was completely lacerated from it, and she was able to avoid having her cervix removed by doing some really deep healing with the divine feminine healing arts from herbs and acupuncture, meditation, changing her diet, taking out any processed dairy. And the cool thing about it is that she healed and avoided a surgery that would have taken her 6 months to recover. So bleeding is magical. I would say don't use those cups. Maybe once in a very blue moon if you're snorkeling and there are sharks around and that's your only option. Otherwise, collect your blood, do something magical, spiritual with it. Bury it in a sacred site in the ground. In Bali, they're very... they actually don't let blood in the temples, and if you're a menstruating woman, it's like too strong for their temples. But find the right place in nature to really honor and release your magic back into the earth and to connect back with the earth's magic. A mandala. Rest, be gentle, do a ritual, take time, just lay in the bed, cancel your appointments that aren't important. Don't pack on a bunch of social events. If it's the first day of your bleed, maybe you had a hot date scheduled, schedule it for the next week or a couple days out. This is also a time where you go into potential emotions. If our emotions have been suppressed, there might be a little bit of an outburst of irritability, or you could feel down, anxiety, depression. A lot of ladies experience these fluctuations in their spiritual energy during this time as well. So you could feel super positive or super low. You could feel stuck and blocked and like something. So it could be really up and down because you're purging. It's releasing. These feelings can range from spiritual exhaustion to a heightened sense of connection with the divine or universal energies. So one thing I wanted to say about this phase is if you've been really building and filling your energy, your chi, your prana, you've been doing nourishing yin practices like yoga and tai chi. I'm not talking about the power yoga where you're just sweating and burning and going, but you're filling up your tank continually. You won't feel as exhausted. But if you're that woman who's a spiritual coach, or you're a consultant and you're using your channel and you're very tapped in spiritually and you're seeing clients boom, boom, boom all the time, and you're using your gifts without a pause, without a rest, this might be a time where you resent people, where you go from being really patient to no more Mrs. Nice Girl, like, give me this now. And you're like, why? What happened? You might be a little snappy, or you might feel some energy of doom. So just start tracking your emotions. And there's an incredible app, very simple app. You might know of it already. You might be using it, Clue, and it tracks your period cycle. It's also really helpful if you ever go to the OBGYN. They're like, when's your last bleed? That happened to me this time. And I was like, I have it on my app because I can't remember dates very well. Sorry if I ever missed your birthday. Because if I don't put it on a calendar, then I'm just like, So remember to put everything in your Clue app or to track it somewhere, because the information you track with your bleeds, your phases, is gold. I wanted to invite you to the new moon ceremony. It's called Money Magic, and it's around an hour, 75-minute ritual for divine feminine entrepreneurs, female entrepreneurs, highly committed, successful, smart, go-getting women who are ready to up-level in their spirits, to up-level in their ascension process, as well as in their abundance. So if you're ready to shift the hustle energy and you feel like you're doing too many things, too many projects, and it's draining you, or maybe you are ready to launch a new aspect in your business, you want to be more spiritually aligned, maybe you've been working in corporate, you're ready to launch your business, or maybe you just have an amazing business you love already, but you want to do it in a way that is in alignment with your menstrual and your moonstrual, the divine feminine goddess Luna, her cycles, and to not be alone in a masculine world. You want to have sisters, you want to have other like-minded and like-wombed beings to share the magic. So Money Magic is coming up on the 20th of this month, Pacific Standard Time at 5:30, 8:30 p.m. Eastern. So 5:30 and 8:30 Pacific and Eastern Standard Time on the 20th of this month, March. Thank you so much for joining me. I would love to know what you're doing with your menstrual phases, what you got out of this video. Thank you for being here with me, and I look forward to seeing you tomorrow. I'm on day 2 of my full moon cycle challenge, so around a 32-day flow. I'll see you tomorrow. Namaste. Namaste. Go.